So it's even beyond, will this take me to hell or not? Is this sin or not? So it's now about pleasing the one who you love, who loves you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I wish you had more time to have this discussion on the longer level. This was interesting. Please, if you still have any more questions, you can reach out to us on RCCG PSF Bible Study at gmail.com. RCCG PSF Bible Study at gmail.com. Thank you. Stay tuned. The program still continues, and God bless you.
Thank you. All right.
It has really been an awesome and life-transforming experience right from the first day of the 2020 Holy Ghost Congress on Monday till today, which happens to be the last day for the PSF segment. Right now, we're moving into an important conversation about a topic that relates to every one of us, that irrespective of our status, or our age, or even our location. We're going to be talking about living a financially independent life. My name is Olawale Ajayi, and joining me in this conversation is no other person than the coordinator of the Pastor Seeds Family Worldwide, Pastor Oluwagbemileke Adeboye. Welcome, sir.
Thanks, man. All that title. Introduction.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. How's your day been, sir? And how's the Congress experience been?
Good. Congress has been amazing. Time to fly. And now we're already on board and we're flying. I mean, we have God's eagle and we're on eagle's wings. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad to hear that from you, sir.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, so we're going to be moving into a conversation, like I said earlier, about living financially independently, like very well. And so we're going to be learning from you and what you've done so far and how it has been for you. So we already know that little can be achieved without getting help from someone else or even somewhere.
True.
Just little can be achieved.
Yeah.
So we all need that hand. And God has already told us in using the parable of the talents in Matthew 25, verse 14 to 30, that He places things in our hands before He leaves us to hold ourselves. So how does that relate to you, and how does that relate to the conversation?
I mean, if I was a genius, I'd have said that you've seen my notes beforehand. So, like you said, regardless of whatever age or group or whatever stage of life we're in, this is a conversation that is supposed to help all of us one way or the other. I'm still learning myself. I'm new to this world. I'm just, still a baby, but because, we've seen that no one is born without a gifting and a talent, like you referred to in the parable of the talents, which means God did not send anyone here without some sort of gifting. Now, the first question that was ever asked in the Bible that I find very interesting is when God asked Moses and asked him, he said, "What is in your hand? What is in your hand?" And that question, Moses replied and said to God, he said, "It's a rod," but to God, it's more than a rod, which means no one is left with anything. The widow as well with Elisha, he goes, "What do you have at home?" She goes, "I have nothing but a little bit of oil." So we can always keep going. Now, in the hands of David, it was stones and catapults that he had to use to pull. So if you go across the Bible, you would always realize that there is something in everybody's hand. And if we continue, if I'm looking straight into my notes to peek into it, John 3:35, the Bible actually specifically says, the Father loved the Son and placed everything in his hands. So once we have the understanding that our hands is the beginning of everything that we need. It can be our hand both physically, it can be our hands mentally, and then of course it can be our hands spiritually. And then we will not stop from that one. So if we're looking deeper into this, right, it is God that would allow us to be able to move from stage to stage when it comes to the, talking about financial things. Now, we're dealing with youths and young adults and, people of all ages. From the earliest of your childhood, maybe you are in primary school, secondary school, if you're fortunate enough, you would be able to get pocket money and allowances, and that even goes across board. I mean, for those who are in Nigeria, even when just before you start working and you're going for your National Youth Service, they give you alawi as well, and things like that. There's a level of discipline that comes into it. You have to start off and understand that a bit of that portion of whatever your income is, you have to be able to start breaking it down to know how I manage this. you mentioned earlier that nobody ever gets anything without getting help from somewhere, and to be able to at least start up. Even John said it. He said that nothing is given to man except given from above. So from above is both spiritual and physical. If you're a baby, your parents are giving you stuff which you're receiving from above. As a pastor, you're receiving the anointing from above. As a youth, when that uncle comes and they give you something, you're receiving it from above. So once you start getting, then you get into the process of discipline, because you're not thinking of now. A lot of us want that miracle, microwave style miracle where we just go quick and then boom, one day we've hit it, to whatever else. But even if you get 1 billion and you don't have a discipline already, it would go away in no time. So therefore, there's an understanding that you have to have, that when you get an income, there's a system that I learned and developed over time. Say I get 100 of whatever, because now we're speaking in different nations and we're speaking to different communities. So for sake of example, we just say 100 naira. You would then know that if you break that money into 30, 30, 30, 10, the 10 obviously is tight. So let me first put that one in one corner. You will know that the 30 that is coming out of the first 30 should be for your own expenses, your monthly runnings of taking care of yourself, from toiletries to maybe transportations to your lunch money from school or whatever, and then you continue from that to the next 30, which you learn to start saving. Yeah, you start saving, because there could be a rainy day at any time. 2020, there was a lot of rain. Yeah, a lot of rain. And then, of course, you have the next 30, which would be something you used to invest, so that that money can go and start, working itself back for you. But then, that takes discipline as well. That takes discipline for anyone to be able to get into that range and that mode. But I will then give you some of my own secrets, since I'm, you have to learn to give and sow. There's obviously fertile grounds that we all know are key areas. You have to learn to be able to sow even back into your own family, where you're getting the from your parents, bringing something back home at least once a month, that you can say, oh, let me handle this one. If you know that the family likes eating sliced breads a lot, let me be the one bringing the sliced bread or ribena or whatever it is, fresh orange juice or anything, and make that a contribution from your own end monthly. And then, of course, you continue from that. You can start sowing into the lives of orphans and widows, those who actually genuinely need the help. Another one, a fertile ground that I know for sure, is when it comes to any building project that you've verified, that has to do with the house of God, a sanctuary being built, and of course, then the official people of God, as I call them, the people from Israel and nations like that, where that okay, God will definitely stand for these people at all times. And then the missionaries, you cannot leave out the missionaries, those who have intentionally left their own life, left their own qualifications or education and businesses and things, and then moved on to go focus on spreading the gospel. That is definitely another fertile ground that you have to obviously look into. But my own life hack, if I was to say, after doing all this sowing, that I realized over time, is that tithing. Now, different people have different issues with it. That's their own. Life is about results at the end of the day. We know that it says the tenth of whatever. Some people take it to another level. They tithe absolutely everything they receive. But I'm like, why don't I do reverse engineering with God? So you ask for 10 and I give you 15, or I give you 20. So on technicality, God is owing me the balance. I've paid tithe in advance for the money you haven't given me. And the accounts and everyone have to be balanced at all times.
Okay.
So there's no shaking about it. So the second I'm able to, so I'm affecting even my breakdown of 30, 30, 30, 10, and I've just re-engineered it so that later on, when the income starts to come, because once you do that one, if I'm paying tight in advance for even the funds you haven't allowed to come, that means my business must make money the next month.
Perfect, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Exactly.
It's been a very interesting conversation. I've learned so much about one of the key aspects of living financially independent is discipline. You can't do without it.
Yes,
so we talked about giving, sowing, and there are quite a number of fertile grounds for us to sow into. Now, if you are able to adapt with all these life hacks you gave, you're going to do so well. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. It's really been a very wonderful time with you.
I'm working for you now.
Thank you
from
very
seed
much,
to
sir.
seed.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
God bless you, man.
Do have a wonderful day, sir.
Oh yeah, you didn't ask me what is in my hands. You should ask me what is in my own
Yes, you
hands.
talked a bit about it.
Yeah, I actually have a gift for you in my own hand, which is a PSF lapel made out of gold, so that you don't
Thank
go
you
home
very
the
much,
same
sir.
way you
This
came.
is sewing already.
Hey, you see?
Thank you very much, sir.
God bless you, man.
Amen, sir. Have a very wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, thank you very much, to the viewers. It's been a very wonderful session with the coordinator of the Pastor Seed Family Worldwide, Pastor Luagbemleke Adeboye. And we've learned so much about giving. We've learned so much about sowing into fertile grounds. I will pray that God will continually bless us and give us grace to live